Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be doing episode number 35 of I Build Your Teams, the series where I build my viewers' teams into the best teams possible for my team unlimited and or competitive play based on how much MT they have, what their squad currently looks like, and things like that. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, help me push towards the 5,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, and I would really appreciate your support if you haven't already, if you do subscribe. Yeah, without further ado though, we're gonna hop right into it. Start off with my man's Lou's team. Lou's one of my really good friends in the community, so I know him really well and his play style. But he's got about almost a million MT and a really solid, pretty basic but very well built squad, I'd say. And he is got a couple holes, obviously backup small forward, backup power forward. He needs guys in those spots. Otherwise, the team is looking pretty good. Got a lot of top cards in the game. Definitely his point guard and center position, I would say, are pretty well figured out as well. No Ben Simmons. I don't think that's a necessity, but I think you could potentially target Ben if you wanted to. But I know Lou loves Cedric Maxwell. He's a big fan of base 3. So for me personally, I'm not going to recommend Ben. What I am going to recommend, though, is 100% grinding out the Richard Jefferson challenges. And I'll be honest, that is probably a recommendation that y'all will see on every single one of these teams that does not have Richard Jefferson in today's video, because he is that good. Absolutely incredible card. One of the best cards in my team. And I would 100% grind him out. That's like the first thing that I would do with this squad is go get yourself a Richard Jefferson. You can start him at the 2 next to MJ. You could bring him off the bench as a primary ball handler next to LaMelo. You could kind of do it whatever, but I would definitely have him as your other 2 along with Cedric. Also at the backup 4, knowing Lou as well, I would go get Bob. I think he's only recently started playing my team again, but he's a competitive player. Very, very good at the game. I would definitely go get yourself a Bob Nedelicki because he's free and really, really solid option. But in the meantime, while you are waiting to get Bob, and while you're on the road to Bob, one guy that I would recommend picking up as a temporary stopgap would be a guy like Jermaine O'Neal, another really good budget power forward, just like Jack Sikma. It's going to get the job done at a very high level. You can plug him in here right here at the backup power forward position. Once you get RJ and Jermaine O'Neal, for me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Zion. If you want to keep Zion, feel free. It's your team, obviously. But for me personally, what I would be looking to do is sell Zion and replace him with someone who gives you a little bit more defense, whether that be a Giannis or a Draymond Green, because I really like the fact that those cards give you a little bit more defensive versatility than a guy like Zion for me personally. So that's probably what I would be looking to do with this squad. Second team today comes in from Dinwiddie. He's got about 800 to 850 KMT once his KD sells. LaMelo's untouchable because he has fun with him. Bet. Sounds good. He's got a pretty solid squad already, and 800 KMT is enough MT to make some significant upgrades as well if you do want to do so. Yao Ming and Artis is a super good center duo. Your point guards are solid. Your shooting guards are solid. Small forwards are really, really good. Your power forwards are also very good. For me personally, same thing I recommend with the first team. And again, I'm going to repeat it. And basically every team, probably this video, if you don't have Richard Jefferson, you got to go get him. He's one of the best primary ball handlers in the game, one of the most elite all-around cards in the game. Absolutely incredible option. Go get yourself a Richard Jefferson. Then you can bring Mullen off the bench. The next thing that I would do, though, honestly, because I don't think any other positions on your team need significant work, is do one of 2 things. One, you can sell some stuff, maybe try to save yourself a little bit more MT and try to get yourself a Michael Jordan, or you could go for the slightly cheaper option. He's not going to be the primary ball handler, but he can still hold it down to incredibly high level as a secondary ball handler and as a defender, and that would be picking up Ben Simmons. If you do that, I think you start Ben and RJ, you move LaMelo and Mullen to the bench, and then the rest of your team is honestly very solid. And I might even go the Ben Simmons route, because then you're going to still have MT left to play with for future drops, and you will have Ben as well as your primary ball handler and RJ, and then you have Mullen to be a primary ball handler next to LaMelo off the bench. So that's what I'd probably do, is pick up Ben and grind yourself on a Richard Jefferson. Next squad today comes in from Nick. He's got 250 KMT on current. Might sell Kawhi, but he's not sure how his bench is going to work with Cassie Russell there. And I'm going to say, for one, with this squad like this, you have a good team, but I think you can actually tactically downgrade some things and improve your squad while also saving yourself some MT. The first thing that I would do is move Andre Kirilenko to the 3, move Draymond to the backup 3, because for me personally, I think AK is the best 3 in the game, and then sell Jason Tatum. That's what I personally would do, and then that's going to free up a little bit of MT, which you can use on your power forward position. Go get yourself a Jack Sikma. He's super cheap and incredibly good, one of the best power forwards in the game, and also comes in at less than 20,000 MT. So that's honestly going to improve your team right there and save you some MT just right off the bat. The next thing I would do is sell Kawhi. I know Kawhi is a very, very good defensive card, but at this point, I think Cassie is going to give you more offensively, maybe less defensively, but more offensively for sure than Kawhi, and you can run Cassie as your backup too. And then I think really at that point, your squad, besides your point guard position, is absolutely solved. Now, the question with the point guard position, and you will probably have have something along the lines of 500,000 MT to work with at that point, is do you want to go big with a guy like Ben Simmons and then move Giddey to the bench and have Ben and RJ and then Giddey and Cassie and have your shooting guards be your primary ball handlers? That is one way to go, but you're not going to have any MT left if you wanted to do that. Otherwise, you could go with a guy like Zach LaVine. Put LaVine at PG, Josh Giddey off the bench. That might be the cheaper option and maybe the better option to give yourself some more MT flexibility, and that would give you a 10 of Zach, Richard Jefferson, AK Wilton, KP, with Giddey, Cassie, Draymond, Jack Sigma, and Dikembe off the bench. And for me personally, that might be the perfect team that you can build. It's going to give you a better 10-man than what you have now, and it's going to save you some MT or keep you at about the same MT amount. Next squad today comes in from Jalen. He's got 210k MT. Hawks 2018 is his playstyle. He loves the vids. Starting lineup is low-key cheesy, and it is a cheesy lineup. I mean, you have incredible size. You have Richard Jefferson as your primary ball handler. But for me personally, I think if you're going to run a tall point guard, I don't think Arvydas Sabonis is that guy. For me personally, I'm just going to say I would sell a lot of things about this team, though. I think if you can free up MT by selling guys like Josh Smith, Arvydas Sabonis, Alex Caruso, and then work on potentially upgrading your positions a little bit, going after Josh Giddey, for example, would be a great guy to plug into the squad. Playing Robert Covington potentially at the 3 over Herbert Jones or Jonathan Isaac, or even at the 2 over Kevin Huerter if you want to get a primary ball handler at the backup. Selling Kristaps Porzingis and trying to upgrade to a slightly better budget center, whether that's a guy like, who are the best budget centers in the game right now? I'm kind of drawing a blank, but I mean, you could move Sigma to the center position. You can move Hakeem to the backup center and start Sigma at the 4 and get Jermaine O'Neal. The 10-man that I would probably target, though, in all honesty, would be something along the lines of, if you can get to this type of team, would be something like Zach LaVine, Richard Jefferson, Robert Covington, Jack Sigma, and Ralph, and then a bench of Josh Giddey, Kevin Huerter, Herb Jones is fine, and then Jermaine O'Neal and Hakeem. That's probably about the 10-man that I'd be trying to target with this type of team. I think that would probably benefit you in the long run, give you a more well-rounded team to work with, and then you can work on saving some MT and continuing to upgrade potentially at that center position. Next squad today comes in from Jack. It's kind of hard to see, but it looks like he only has about 22,000 MT. He's on current gen, so Luke on current gen is not exactly the greatest in my personal opinion, but if you like him, that's cool. But Albert King, KD, Bob, Yao, Ben, Jimmy Butler, Carmelo, Zion, and KP. This is a solid squad, but again, I'm going to recommend some of the similar upgrades that I have recommended throughout this video, and that's going to be, for number 1, go get yourself Richard Jefferson. Easy upgrade. You plug him in for Albert King or Jimmy Butler, whoever you prefer. Run the other guy at the backup because it looks like this is the box, Jimmy Butler and Carmelo, that you can't sell. So I would just pick one of these 2 guys, play them at your backup, and then get Richard Jefferson to start. I would also start Ben Simmons next to Richard Jefferson, so then you can have RJ be your primary ball handler, Ben Simmons as that elite defensive guy, and then honestly, off the bench, I would sell Luka because of how expensive he is, because of how good he is on next gen. And I would, again, I've said this name several times, but I'd go get Zach LaVine. I think he's better than Luka on current gen. You play him as your ball handler off the bench next to a guy like Jimmy or Albert, who's going to be an elite lockdown defender, and that's a good upgrade. The final upgrade I'm going to recommend in this video is selling Zion and swapping him out for Jack Sigma, kind of like what I recommended on, I think, the second or third. I'm not even sure which team it was. Maybe it was this team. I don't know. But getting Jack Sigma at the backup 4 is definitely a good upgrade, and it's going to save you MT. He's better at the 4 than Zion. He's a lot cheaper than Zion. That's going to save you MT and give you MT in the future that you can potentially use to upgrade. For example, picking up Andre Kirilenko at the 3 and moving KD to the bench so you can take Carmelo out of your lineup. Something like that. For me, that's what I would do. Ben, RJ, maybe AK, Bob, and Yao. And then off the bench go Zach LaVine, Jimmy Butler, or Albert King. KD, Sigma, and KP. That's an amazing 10-man in my opinion. Second to last squad today comes in from Black Stars. He's got about 1 million MT on current gen PC, and I will say I don't know the current gen PC market much, so that's one thing to keep in mind because I don't really know how expensive cards are. But you are considering selling Shaq to get Pippen replaced. Giddey not playing unlimited now that you've got Bob, so he wants the best starting lineup. Going to grind for RJ later, and RJ definitely a great guy to pick up. I will say I think if you're going to get Richard Jefferson, I think another guy that would be actually a very good guy to pick up would be Ben Simmons. You put Ben Simmons at the 1, MJ at the 2, and then you run Josh Giddey at the backup 1 and Richard Jefferson at the backup 2. So you have a defensive point guard and an elite ball handling shooting guard. That's going to fix your backcourt right there by picking up Ben. Draymond Green and Herb Jones, not bad. I would sell Shaq. My personal opinion, I don't he's not bad. He's probably still the best power forward in the game, but I just feel like you get enough value out of a Bob Nedelicki, out of a Jack Sigma, even if you wanted to go a little bit more expensive, a Blake Griffin for a much cheaper amount of MT than Shaquille O'Neal. So for me personally, I would sell Shaq and replace him with one of those budget options, and then that's going to give you even more MT flexibility with which you can use to upgrade your 3. Maybe pick up AK and bring Jam off the bench, potentially pick up Kareem or KP to replace Dikembe, and even at that point, you're still going to be up MT. You're gonna have made MT by doing that, and your squad is going to be looking better all the way around. And then finally, last team today comes in from F-Gun. He's got a million MT on next gen, considering getting rid of everyone, but I don't think this team is really in need of significant changes. Ben, Luka, LaMelo, Rajay, that's a great team, especially on next gen where Luka is so good. Draymond and AK is a great small forward duo. I might flip them, but if you prefer Draymond, feel free. Wilt, D-Rob, Yao, and KP, again, just absolutely incredible size. You're gonna have amazing defense. Wilt's release I don't love, but if you like the card, feel free to run him. This honestly is a team that I don't think is in need of any sort of upgrades. I personally would be completely fine with keeping this team as it is and just running this squad until season 7 hits in about a week. I'm not going to recommend any specific upgrades with this team. I just think this is a really well-built team that couples some cheaper-ish type budget cards like a Draymond Green and David Robinson, and a free guard like Richard Jefferson with some of the top cards in the game like Ben, Luka, Wilt, Yao, LaMelo, AK, and KP. So really good team again. Definitely am a massive fan of what you're working with this squad. This is one of the first times in this series that I haven't recommended any upgrades. So good stuff on that. But yeah, hopefully y'all did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe if you want to be involved in a future episode of this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description. And be on the lookout for a tweet about this series on Friday nights. Drop your team below there for a chance to be included in the next episode. But hopefully you did enjoy the video, like I said. If so, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back with more 2K content very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.